We are the Muslim Ummah, and each day that goes by, the harder we try. In gratitude we pray to Allah. Chosen as part of the best of mankind, we spread the word of Islam. Each man at each hour, in awe of his power, each flower, each tree.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to episode number 8 of our exciting journey through Islamic Europe. A journey through Islamic Europe, through something that people have never actually done before. It's something very new, something very unique. I'm Dr. Stef Keris Abu Yasser, and I'm the author of the book Europe's Forgotten Ottoman Heritage. Now, Ottoman heritage you can mainly find in the Balkans, and we're going to discuss a lot, and we're going to see a lot about the Balkan countries, which are at this moment actually in a total mess. That's just simply the truth. Because Yugoslavia, as it used to be called, this country, vast country of Yugoslavia before, is divided into 6 countries nowadays. And it's a question if it's 6, because not everybody recognizes all of them. Now, we're going to focus a bit today on one country of the Balkans, one specific country, Albania. Albania will play a role at the very beginning of the Ottoman Empire and at the very end of the Ottoman Empire. And during the time of the Ottoman Empire, it will provide so many pashas that actually you can say that most of the pashas of the Ottoman Empire were Albanians. Now look at that, irony of history, isn't it? We have so many sultans who had Greek mothers, who have Greek blood. Now we have so many pashas who are actually Albanians. Now what is happening to the Ottoman Turkish Empire? Now again, I hope I'm not upsetting too many people watching me now at this moment. Anyway, alhamdulillah, we go back to part number 1, Albania. Now where is Albania? Where is Albania? Albania is a very tiny country, one of the smallest countries in Europe, and it's in the north of Greece, northwest of Greece, at the Adriatic Sea. Now, I have a map here, which will hopefully enlighten you. Now, on the map you can see Spain in the west of Europe, Portugal and Spain, southwest, France, Portugal, Spain. Next to Spain, of course, the boot, Italy, and next to Italy we find Greece. Above Greece, in the north of Greece, northwest, we'll see Albania. Albania next to Macedonia, as it is written here on the map. Now Albania, Macedonia and Bulgaria. These 3 countries border Greece in the north. And in the east of Greece we'll find the mighty, powerful, big neighbor Turkey. So I hope you are very much aware of this now. Spain, Italy, Greece, all these countries are part of the European Union. Turkey wanted to, not anymore, and they're very smart, aren't they? Because now Turkey is the only country in Europe which is not in debt. And Turkey is the only country in Europe which is doing actually quite well. So now we're not discussing the issue of the European Union at all. Now, the other map that would go deeper into the Mediterranean Sea is a little bit more detailed. Look at, again, we have Spain there. We have France in the north of Spain. Now we have Italy. Malta is also on this map. Hopefully you can see that under the boot of Italy. Malta between Libya and Italy, a tiny island. And then we have Greece again. Turkey, the neighbor next to Greece in the east, and northwest Albania. Next to Albania, the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, which is the official name and not Macedonia, and we're going to discuss this issue, inshallah, we're going to depth with this issue in our next episode, inshallah. Now, and next to the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, Bulgaria. All right, now the Balkans, as you can see, the Balkan countries, please can we show this one once more? The Balkan countries are divided as from Slovenia all the way in the north of the Balkan Peninsula, above Italy. Italy, to its east, is Slovenia. Under Slovenia in the south is Croatia. Croatia borders with Bosnia-Herzegovina. Bosnia-Herzegovina borders with Montenegro, which you cannot see here, unfortunately. You can see it, but it's not written here. And Montenegro borders in the end with Albania, Kosovo, and Serbia in the north of these countries. So we are talking indeed about a big mess. I hope you're not confused. I will try. During the episode, I will try to play these maps, to show you these maps, so you can get a better idea of how the structure of the Balkan is. Now, it is really a little bit difficult, I admit, so that's why I'm going to show you the maps more often, inshallah. Now, Albania, a country of around 3 million people, not more, and the question is if it's indeed 3 million people. Now, more than 1 million live in Greece as guest workers, as migrants, and when Albania actually became known, it in the 90s, the beginning of 90s, 1991, 1992, after the fall of communism, Albania opened finally, and the world welcomed Albanians. So the Albanians welcomed the world, let's put it that way. Because during the time of communism, after the Second World War, the Albanian government was a strict Stalinist communist government and stayed pretty much on its own, and the only relationship that the Albanian government had was first with China, actually just with China throughout the time, but also with Yugoslavia, but they broke up with Yugoslavia, and then they had some relationship with China. So the Soviet Union even was not even a worthwhile partner to deal with, according to the Albanian dictator at that time, Enver Hoxha. So Albania was a closed country to anybody. The only foreign people they would see would be some Chinese students at the universities in Albania, and the only Albanian people who were allowed to travel out of the country, next to diplomats of course, were some Albanian students who were studying at the universities in China. So imagine now a country like this, landlocked, not landlocked, it's at the Adriatic Sea, but close to the world. And imagine this country now suddenly breaks open, 1991. And suddenly we can clearly say we discover or rediscover the pearl that Albania is actually. We rediscover what Albania has to offer. In terms of tourism, of course, there is a lot still to be done in Albania, but everything is there. Everything is available in Albania. If we look at a country which has 70% Muslims officially, because of the Stalinist regime before, most of them know that they were originally Muslims, they were born by Muslim parents, but they did not practice Islam, they don't even know anything about Islam. It's even new to them if you told them something about praying 5 times a day, simply because of the Stalinist time, which did not allow religions to be practiced, neither Christianity, nor Judaism, nor Islam, not at all. Even many mosques and many churches were functioning as stables. That's how bad it was at that time. So Muslim Albanians are 70% officially, but there's still a lot that needs to be done there for the Albanians to recognize Islam, to understand what Islam is. But there is a massive cultural Ottoman Islamic heritage which can be found in Albania, and I would like to share this with you. When I was there 2 years ago, I had the chance, with my documentary, I will show you some of the slides that I had the chance to make some of the photos, and mashallah, I was surprised. I was really surprised to see how open actually these people have become, how open they are, and how much they welcome foreigners into their country. They do have an issue with their Islamic Ottoman past, like all the former Ottoman European countries and even Arab countries. They do have a problem with that, but simply because of misinformation. And I would like to tell you one thing. I remember in my lectures, I was in Germany, and I mentioned the issue of Albania, and an Albanian Muslim, he jumped out of the crowd and he said, listen, we were told that when the Ottomans were in Albania, every newborn child would be taken away and would be taken to the Sultan's palace in order to be educated there. So my question was then, if every newborn child that was born in Albania was taken to the Sultan's palace, how come we still have 3 million Albanians then, if this is all true? Now he himself sat down and thought about it and he said, yes indeed, I mean, how come we still had people in Albania who spoke Albanian after the Ottoman Empire still, during and after, and how come 70% accepted Islam in the end? All these, big question marks that we actually have to all put in our mind. We have to all ask ourselves, how far does this all go, and how far can they come with their lies and their myths? Now, things happened indeed. There was a so-called devshirme system, which the Ottomans invented. The second or third sultan, it's not very clear who it was, if it was Orhan or Murad, who came up with the devshirme system, which meant that a family that had more than 4 boys was, and I'm using my word carefully, allowed to give their 5th boy to the Sultan to be educated at the palace in Istanbul. Now, I'm saying allowed, yes. I'm saying allowed because we should not forget the circumstances that these people were living in the 14th, 15th, 16th century. We were talking about Albanian families being peasants, most of them, having barely something to eat, okay? And then you come along and you say, I would like to have one of your boys to educate this boy in Istanbul. This boy had an education for free, had food for free, became a janissar, which is was highly high function. You became a big soldier, became a big person in the Ottoman army and in the Ottoman Empire. Mimar Sinan, the biggest architect of the Ottoman Empire, was one of these devshirme children. Mimar Sinan was originally either Greek, most of the claims go back to him being Greek, but there are also some who say that he was not Greek, he was something else, but he was Armenian, most probably, but he was a Christian. He was one of his Christian children that they took to educate them in Istanbul. Now, Mimar Sinan would have never had this chance to be what he was, to become a big architect, one of the biggest in the world, if he hadn't been a devshirme child. So imagine. Now, before we go into the slideshow, and before I give you some idea of what Albania actually looks like, and what I'm talking about the whole time, what is this Islamic heritage in Albania, we need to go over to a break, and inshallah see you after the break, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Chosen as part of the best of mankind, we spread the word of Islam.
If I think I lost my ablution, but I'm not sure, do I have to make wudu again? Is it allowed for Muslims to visit the graveyard, or is that shirk? Am I allowed to say Jummah Mubarak to someone? Can I get to know a sister before marriage? I have so many questions, and I feel that I've just reached a dead end. If only I could find someone trustworthy to answer my questions. Someone who speaks based on proof from the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet.
Chosen as part of the best of mankind, we spread the word of Islam.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and welcome back again to the second part of this very exciting episode 8, talking about Albania, a country which was absolutely not known at all until the 90s, the beginning of 1991. And suddenly there it is. There is a country which nobody knew. And suddenly we have Albanians. We don't even know who and what and where. Now, Albania, just a basic idea, give you a general idea as we discussed before. Albania is one of the tiniest countries of Europe, 3 million inhabitants, 70% Muslims. I would like to go straight over to the slideshow now. And as I said before, I would like you to join me now to a small journey through Albania. Now, the first slide shows you Kruja, which is actually a very exciting place. As you can see in the back, this is a bazaar in front of you. So in the back you can see a mosque already. A typical Ottoman structure of a mosque, a typical Ottoman minaret. Okay? Now, the bazaar-like style, has of course stayed as it used to be during the Ottoman time. Nothing has changed, believe me. Even the structure of the houses have stayed the same. Now, on this second picture, we can see more the newer buildings, the newer blocks in that area of Kruja. Kruja is a city which is built up on the mountain, as we can see here. It's built up on the mountain. Iskandar Bey, the national hero of Albania, is loved in this area, in Kruja. They have built even a museum for him. Now, Iskandar Bey is a very controversial figure. Muslims who know his life do not really like him. And non-Muslims, or people who have nothing to do with Islam, let's put it that way, consider him a hero. Now, Iskandar Bey was somebody who was raised by the Sultan himself. The Sultan used to love him. He was at the Sultan's court, at the palace, and all the education and everything was given was by the Ottoman Empire, actually. And then he returned back to Albania, and suddenly he became basically a revolutionary. And he led, as the official version is, he led Albanians against the Ottomans in order to get independence, against the Ottomans to get independence. So basically he is considered a national hero, the hero of Albania. As I said, controversial everything. But anyway, let's go further to the slideshow. Now, photo number 3 was, as we just saw, the mosque in front of, at the beginning of Kruja, actually, what we just saw. Now, photo number 4, typical structure again of the houses. Now we can see a little bit more some of the Ottoman style houses. What we saw before were the blocks. Now some of the Ottoman style houses in front. All, as you can see in the back, the mountain. Albania is a very mountainous country. It consists of mountains. The whole country is basically mountains. Now we are moving up towards the castle, towards the museum where they have built the museum, as I said, for Iskandar Bey, which you can see now. This is the museum that they have built all the way up on top. Now, again, a map, as I promised you. I'll show you again just to give you an idea, just to make sure that you understand where Albania is. You can see the map of Europe. You see again, hopefully now, Italy and Greece. Understand it a little bit better. Above Greece, Albania in the north, Albania. Next to Albania, Macedonia, and Bulgaria in the east of Macedonia. Now we're moving on, going up towards the top of the hill, or towards the top of the mountain, where we will find the museum of Iskandar Bey. Again, these houses that we see here, very typical 15th, 16th century. Ottoman style, Ottoman Empire. Okay, they indicate clearly the Ottomans have been there. Now, interesting photo is this one. This is a very interesting photo. I'm sure that most of you recognize something in there. It used to be a mosque with a minaret. Now, this is a broken minaret, as you can see, and the mosque has disappeared. Okay? Now, what exactly happened, nobody could tell me or wanted to tell me there exactly. But we know that a lot of things in the Balkans happened out of hatred. A lot of things after the Ottomans left, during the time of, towards the end of the Ottoman rule, things got out of hand. The Balkan Christians suddenly went mad. They just got their independence. They were so-called happy that the Ottomans, the Turks left. So now we can get rid of everything that was Islamic, anything that was Ottoman, that reminded us of this terrible past. Anyway, so we don't know exactly what happened here, but I'm just giving you an idea of what might have happened. Now it gives you, next photo gives you a better idea of nowadays Albania. Although we will speak about it too later in the episodes, but it gives you a general idea. Now this is Durrës. This is a port city, and everything is now with money that's coming from Albanians who are working abroad. More than 1 million of them are working abroad, mainly in Italy and in Greece. This money goes back into the Albanian economy, and it does help the Albanian state and the Albanian government very much. Now, one of the new buildings is also a mosque. Masajid, mosques are built on a constant basis, and this is one mosque in Durrës, again the same port city that I showed you before. This mosque is financed also by the Saudi state, and we see more of these mosques. Now, a totally different mosque is a typical Ottoman mosque that you can see here. This is real Islamic heritage and Ottoman heritage of Albania. Now, this is an old mosque from the 16th century, built by the Ottoman Turks, and it has remained as it used to be. Look at the roof exactly as it used to be during the time of the Ottomans. And the inside of this mosque, except the minaret, of course, as you can imagine, the minaret was added to, it was there, but it was renovated. So basically they renewed the outer structure of the minaret, but not the mosque itself, not the building itself. Now, the inside of the mosque gives you again another idea, a better idea of Ottoman mosques. It is a typical Ottoman mosque again. And, well, the only thing that has been renewed in there is basically the carpet. Furthermore, everything has remained more or less the same. Now, again, this picture shows you another angle. And here we got again. Now, I'm sure that most of you will not imagine how beautiful Albania is. We have, unfortunately, Albania was given a very bad reputation because of, obviously, what happened before. It was a closed country. People did not know Albania, did not know Albanians. So it was an issue. It was a problem, obviously. Suddenly, Albanians got their freedom. It's as if you put a bird in a cage and then you open the cage, the bird will fly out. So that's what happened to the Albanians. They flew out and they went to Greece and Italy. And nowadays we have like more than 500,000 Albanians working in Greece, more than 500,000 working in Italy and the rest of Europe. This money is a badly needed money that goes back to Albanian economy. And Albania is changing, drastically, is changing. One of the reminders of the Ottoman past, of the communist, of the Stalinist past of Albania is this one, where you can see one of the bunkers. Enver Hoxha, the Stalinist dictator of Albania, was obsessed with building bunkers because he expected from anywhere enemies to come and invading the country. So these bunkers are still there, or some of them are still there. People destroyed them, or tried it at least, because they're very hard to be destroyed. Obviously, they're very strong. So that's one of the reminders of the Stalinist past of Albania. Now, again, just to give you an idea of the beauty of Tirana, of the capital of Albania, take a look at this one here. This is a central square of Albania. One of it, actually. This is a more modern one. There is another one which also has a mosque in the middle, which is the mosque from the Ottoman Empire still. Now, this one is a central square, a modern one. This gives you a much better idea here. Okay, it is indeed beautiful. And becomes a modern country like most of the countries in the Balkan Peninsula. Now, this is the famous mosque in the central square of Tirana. This one, as you can see in front of you, this is the famous mosque in Tirana, which you can see most of the times documentaries focus on this mosque. It's a very tiny one. It's a very small one. That's the only one that has remained actually in that area. But it is still functioning. You hear the adhan, you can go and pray in there. And mashallah, it is beautiful to see and to realize that here, Albania is actually a Muslim country, mashallah, 70% Muslims. And it is really amazing to still see Ottoman structure there, mashallah. Now, all right. Now, I would like to show you towards the end a small video of some seconds of Tirana Square. Tirana Square, what it looks like today. And again, the square that we just saw with the mosque in there. So, could we please play this video? Now, as you can see, a little video about Tirana Square. You can also see the mosque in the back, all the way in the back. This is what we mostly know nowadays about Tirana, the capital of Albania. It has become a very modern country, no doubt about it. Very modern country. And still, it has become really beautiful, mashallah. Now, I would like to finish a slideshow now quickly with you. And I just give you something to ponder about. I mean, just imagine this country was more than 400 years Ottoman. Alhamdulillah, there is still some reminders are still there of the Ottoman past. But in general, unfortunately, some things are also destroyed and are being destroyed on a daily basis. But I want to leave it like this. I just want you to think about a typical country in the Balkan Peninsula, what has happened to it. And I leave it with you, I'll leave it like this towards the end of the show, show you some of the last slides. And I would like to thank you for having been on the show and would like to welcome you back, episode number 9, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallahu khair.
We are the Muslim Ummah, and each day that goes by, the harder we try. In gratitude we pray to Allah. Chosen as part of the best of mankind, we spread the word of Islam. Each man at each hour, in all of his power, each flower, each tree, everything that we see. Spread the word, oh man. Spread the word of Islam. Oh, fortunate one, paradise must be won.